To jump back to your earlier point about writing being an answer to correct gross inequities or to remedy problems or social ills, I mean, let's look at your work. We have probably the two most prominent examples would be House of Meetings and Time's Arrow to reckon with a serious, in both cases, like genocide. And I'm wondering, though, if that's really what the novel should do, or whether that can really have the same kind of response that, say, Shostakovich's symphonies did. I mean, the novel is now so marginalized in comparison to other forms, the movie, television, the video game, and so forth, that I'm wondering if you really can in fact have that, when of course we are now living with the patent place of our time, 50 Shades of Grey, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think any novel has ever rectified anything. A novel really asserts nothing. It used to be said that satire was militant irony.
Yeah.
That's the distinction, that satire sets out to actually have an effect on society. But it hasn't, has it? I mean, Swift's Modest Proposal was written after the Great Famine. Dickens's attacks on chancery and imprisonment for debt, which his own family suffered from, those abuses were over, more or less, when he wrote Little Dorrit and Bleak House.
Yeah.
The novel doesn't work like that, and I said education. That's what novels do. Not just on particular subjects like the Gulag or the Holocaust, but a novel tries to expand the perceptual world of the reader, so that anyone who reads your book will, you hope, have a richer response to their everyday surroundings, will see the world a bit through new eyes and sort of alien eyes, and see the strangeness of what is taken for granted and what is in fact ordinary. Ordinary people, I keep saying to myself, are really very strange, and I think that's true of the whole furniture of our lives.
Sure. While we're on the subject of mediums, I do have to ask you about something. I'd like to talk about a medium that has a $65 billion global value. A medium that, in fact, was used by President Obama in 2008 to advertise for his presidential campaign for 18 of these. A medium that your friend Salman Rushdie has claimed in an interview to be something of an Angry Birds master. That medium, of course, is, the video game. I do know, and I have to ask you this, that you wrote a book about Space Invaders, and I'm wondering, I did notice you have your pinball machine still. Why are you reluctant to own up to this Space Invaders volume? I've been really curious. I mean, it's hard to find. You don't want to talk about it, but I'm telling you that in this age, when video games are so omnipresent and arguably outsized the movie, why would you be loath to talk about it?
I'm not the slightest bit loath to talk about it. I'm no longer interested in it.
Yeah.
But there it is on my by the same author page. I haven't disowned it.
Yeah. But you haven't exactly welcomed it back into print.
It hasn't come up. I think in Italy they're going to redo it. But that generation of games, that's gone. I mean,
not on the phones.
Not on the...
No, yeah, you could play Space Invaders on a phone.
Can you?
Yeah, you can play Pac-Man on a phone. I mean, it's in fact, the interesting thing about some of these games is that they're so universal, the technology in a compact form, you could actually use them for. But what's also impressive is that, as I said, Obama actually advertised in-game for 18 games in 2008 to reach voters. That's how significant this is, and that's why I'm curious why you have been, at least from what I've seen, reticent to kind of grapple with the fact that video games are a massive part of our culture.
It's because I've been left behind by all that. It's all I can do to get a picture on our digital TV. I have to shout for one of my children to come and help me.
Yeah.
I'm sort of all thumbs with all that now, and no longer interested in those sort of slightly onanistic, solitary pursuits. But I'm as aware as everyone else is that kind of, and I saw it with all my children, that they went through years of not really wanting to do anything else, and I know how addictive they are.
They are very addictive. I had to uninstall some myself. That's how bad they are. I had to read. When was the last time you played Space Invaders? Out of curiosity.
Not for 25 years, unfortunately. But what seems to be very addictive, my daughters admit to this, is that you do the first level and then you get on to the next level. And that kind of incremental building of skills to get to a new phase of the machine seems to be very deeply wired into us all.